And you're listening to the Talk Line Network. Very pleased to present Rabbi Shea Hecht in a special program called Whatever It Takes. Whatever it takes, you got to listen to the show. Good luck, Rabbi Shea Hecht. Take it away.
Good Tavach to my wonderful radio audience. I'm not sure if the program is called Whatever It Takes, but the book is called Whatever It Takes. Let me first begin by taking a moment and joining with my brethren around the world and saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's a showing sight. It's a showing sight. It's time for Mashiach to come. It is the last 2 weeks, the unity that we see amongst the Jewish people, the unity that we see from all the different types of Jews from all over the world, the pain, the anguish, the prayers, the mitzvahs that so many are doing. What I hear from my colleagues around the world, the Chabad houses, people are coming to come and daven, put on tefillin, lighting Shabbos candles. They're really doing what needs to be done. So now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we ask of you, we, your children, are doing what you want us to do. Please, do what you have to do. Do what we want you to do. After all, you do say to us in Pirkei Avos, if we will follow your will, you will follow our will. And that is the prayer that we have. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, once and for all, not only we, but the entire world should see the great miracles that take place. And it should be, that God will be one and his name will be one. We'll truly see that the blessing is upon the Jewish people. The suffering, the difficulties, everyone knows someone. Everyone knows someone who knows someone. Everyone has relatives. I was up in Kingston for Shabbos, Kingston, New York, and unfortunately, a young man that lives in this community, his brother and sister, his sister and brother-in-law were kidnapped. Unfortunately, found out towards the end of the week that they were killed. And starting Shiva, I mean, there's so many layers and layers of pain and anguish and terror and things that are taking place in every single community. All I can say is we join together with the pain. Let's join together in tefillah. Let's join together in doing activities, doing mitzvahs, and changing ourselves and changing the world. And then we'll be Zoicha to the Kaniga Mashiach from Hedu Yemenu Amen. And that's the way it should be for us and for all of us in a way that we really see tremendous changes. I just want to make mention the organization that I have a schus to work for, the National Committee for the Furtherance of Jewish Education, involved in many, many things, starting with the Release Time program of Greater New York. That is, every single Wednesday, we take children from local public schools and take them to a local shul or a local yeshiva and pray with them, learn, study with them, teach them a little bit of Torah, infuse within them an energy and a love for Torah and mitzvahs, a love to be a Jew. And by the way, we have hundreds of children that are registered, hundreds of children that show up every Wednesday. Over the past few years, roughly 1,000 children are registered every single year. Roughly every single week, about 600-700 children show up on every Wednesday. 250 madrichim and madrichos go out of leave Eastern Parkway and go to the various different public schools to take the children to the nearby synagogue, to the nearby shul, to the nearby yeshiva, and have the opportunity of studying Torah with them. Many of these children end up in yeshiva. And I'm happy to say this year, too, like the year before and the year before, roughly 10% of the children that are attending Release Time end up in yeshiva. For those of you who would like to participate, this is what one can say is the biggest yeshiva in the world. Thousands of children every single year. Children that without this program would not attend. There is no tuition. There is no requirements. All you have to do is be a Jewish kid and sign up. You have your parents sign you up. They started calling it the Jewish Hour, but it's basically the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, and the Rebbe referred to it as Mitzvah Shah, because Mitzvah is on Wednesday. That's the day Wednesday, and for 1 hour on Wednesday, we have the opportunity of teaching children Torah. So once again, we are continuing in that way. The children from release time had a number of Yom Tefillah. They had a number of days of prayer with special rallies and special attendance, both in Brooklyn and in Queens. And I want to, first of all, a shout out to all the madrichim and the madrichos who help us out and volunteer for this great work. Also, I think it's appropriate to say to the staff of the release time program, Rabbi Shazak Zirkin, Rabbi Yankee Hecht, and also Rabbi Sadia Engel, for the great work that you do in helping the kids get to the release time children, and bringing to them Torah and Yiddishkeit. My dear friends, we all are concerned about Eretz Yisrael, and perhaps maybe you know, maybe you don't. If not, we'll let you know now that Eretz Yisrael, Israel, basically gave out the information that those returning to study in yeshiva after Sukkot, they prefer that the students should not return back to Eretz Yisrael yet, until for another few days, until safety will be would be assured to us by the government of Israel. So they said, listen, those who are studying in Israel, the Americans and from all over the world that are studying in Israel, that were there, they should stay there. And those who are in the seminaries should stay there. But those students that went home for Sukkot, what we refer to as Ben Azmanim, and are coming back to Israel, they prefer that these students stay in America for a few days until everything basically quiets down. Well, in the Catskill Mountains, many have opened their doors to many of the different yeshivos that the students should be able to learn. Again, they can't go to the local yeshivas because the yeshivas are full. They are already registered somewhere in Israel, and they needed somewhere to go. So the yeshivas all made arrangements, and I know a number of different places, different towns in the Catskill Mountains, where we're able to accommodate and host many of these children. In our camp, known as the Shalah Katz Family Shalah Center, or Camp Shalah in Nappernack, New York, right outside Ellenville, we were able to host the children from Tzidei Hashluchim. This is the yeshiva in Tzfat that basically caters to the children of Shluchim from around the world. This is a high school that is designed specifically for children of Shluchim. So roughly 50 students are now our guests in Nappernack, New York, in our camp. They have, of course, brought Rosh Yeshiva, Mashpiyim, teachers and counselors to the place. And again, I want to say thank you to the staff within Camp Shalah, starting with Rabbi A.B. Itkin, who was the manager of the place during the summer, now had to take on the responsibility of being there, the manager during the winter, and all the other accommodations. The sleeping quarters, the beds, everything, the water had to be reopened. Everything was basically set up that they now have a full-time yeshiva in Nappernack, New York. So again, a shout out for those who made it possible. And let's hope and pray that it's only a few days that these young men will be able to very, very soon go back to their home, their yeshiva back in Tzfat. But until then, we are here to help out. And the way I say it, it's very simple, that once again, the Hecht family and the NCFJE has been accommodating when there is a time of crisis. We respond in a way that we open our hearts and open our doors to many people, and to see that what can be done. So I just want again to say thank you for those who have helped us make this possible. And again, with a commitment to the Yeshiva Bachram that they have a place to sit and study, Baruch Hashem, and be able to steig in their learning for the next few weeks until they're able to make the trip back to Eretz Yisrael. I also would like to make mention that in 4 weeks from tomorrow, it is on Kislev, the 6th of Kislev, Limisparam, as we say, refer to it, November 19th will be that Sunday evening. We will have the National Awards dinner for the National Committee for the Furtherance of Jewish Education. At that dinner, we will be highlighting a tremendous amount of activities that we have been doing and accomplishing over the past year. Before I go into a very interesting detail of what we'll be featuring, I want to again extend an invitation. If there's anybody who wants to come to the dinner, if you've been to our dinners, you know they're really very, very beautiful, both begashmias and beruchnias. We really feed the stomach and we feed the soul. We feed the body and we feed the soul. So once again, it promises to be a great evening. Our guest of honor for the evening is Mr. and Mrs. Jacob Fryman. And I also would like to say that I'm very, very happy that Yankee and Chani Markowitz from Crown Heights will be honored at the dinner. Yankee Bierman will be honored at the dinner. And we will also be hearing from various different elected officials from around the state. So do, if you can, make it your business to be our guest on that evening. Once again, it's a National Awards dinner. It's taking place in the Edison Ballroom in Manhattan. It's on 47th Street. For those of you who'd like to get an invitation, you can call the office. If you, by the way, you want to make it, you can go on today. You can go online, get the information online, or you can give a donation online. Please, we need your help to be able to help others. If you help us, we can help others. Which now brings me to my next topic. Before I get into the next topic, I want to say that over the past few weeks, Rabbi Zev Brenner was kind enough to interview me in regard to a yeshiva that's being accused of being a cult in Great Neck, New York. Because I have joined that accusation, there's those who have accused me for certain things. Well, I am happy to announce tonight, and in Mirz Hashem, very, very soon, we will be having testimonies from students that studied in the yeshiva and other young people that have received have been called Talmidim of this particular Rosh Yeshiva. So, my dear friends, I am waiting anxiously as well, and hopefully you will be able to hear the words directly from this young man that studied in the yeshiva and is able to tell all the things that took place in that yeshiva. All the things that they're now claiming to be lies will come to light. And likewise, a young lady too will be telling some of her story, and that hopefully will be taking place within the next few weeks. We are working on it to do in a way that they are protected, but it will be an interesting story for you to hear. So, my dear friends, stay tuned for that information. Again, unfortunately, the issue is not over. And for those who know me, and as a cult buster for over 40 years, I do my work diligently. I basically do the research. I speak to the people that I have to. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time before information comes forward. And people need to know that they will be protected before they give you the information. But all this is being worked on by a number of professionals. I want to thank them in advance. I cannot mention them by name because they are afraid to be harassed by members or supporters of this particular issue. So, my dear friends, please stay tuned. I'd like to take the next few minutes and talk a little bit about my book. My book is called Whatever It Takes. And as suggested within the name of the book, whatever it takes. I've been taught by my late father, Rabbi Hecht, that helping the Jew should really know no bounds, no limits, no limitation. If a Jew comes and asks you for help, you must do whatever it takes to help that Jew. And I must say, I thank some of the feedback that we have been getting from the book, because we do address many of the issues that Rabbanim, although they're involved in, do not write about, do not speak about. And I'm talking about now abuse that goes on in the Orthodox community. I'm talking about the Aguna plight and problem that goes on in our community. There are many who, in fact, help and do and work, but they don't want it to be public. Well, I do write about it. I do make it public. And for those of you who want a good read and really to enjoy your situation, this is if I say so myself, a great book. It simply will talk about some of the problems that we have in our communities, in our families, but the greatest thing is some of the solutions that are out there. And in fact, the subtitle of the book is called Restoring Hope. One of the reasons why I wrote this book is because there are many times I meet people who come into my office and will talk about a problem that they have with their son or their daughter, or their marriage, or the yeshiva that they're dealing with. And they say there is no one to talk to. They can't seem to tackle the problem. So I want to say there are many people out there within the cloak of Askonis. Many Askonim out there and Rabbonim out there, both men and women, who are willing to help and do. And I'm hoping that this book will restore hope to you, as it will restore hope to others, as it will give others inspiration. Often we think, listen, what can I do? I'm one person. But you know what? One person can make a difference. One person can make a change. It's one person speaking up. Often we find ourselves in a crowd, and perhaps there's someone out there saying something or criticizing. And if everybody is quiet, it just goes by. But once one person speaks up, it helps the silent majority. Yes, I said the silent majority to speak up as well. There are so many different things and so many different solutions that we can have. I start with talking about with our children. When we talk about teens at risk and children have gone off the derech, and unfortunately, we know those numbers are growing. And we know that those children who are going off the derech are from the nicest and most beautiful families, Hasidic families and yeshivish families, and share from across the board. And yes, it's one of the reasons I believe is the influence of the outside world. We have too much information. Yes, I'm talking about it, particularly about the internet. I'm talking about the telephones that we have and carry around in our pockets. And unfortunately, our children and our teenagers are overexposed to the garbage that's out there, to the negativity that's out there, to the hefgadus that's out there, to the freedom that's out there, and also, unfortunately, to the schmutz that's out there. My dear friends, I'm not saying, you want to have the internet. There are many, many ways that we can have it with protection. Many years ago, when we first started, the idea of a buddy system came out. And I personally endorsed that system very, very strongly. I thought it's great. If you can have a friend that you know that can come onto your computer at any time and know where you're at, what you're doing, sometimes it all has to be a spouse. Sometimes it could be a child or a parent. But it is very, very important that we have to know the concept of it, that there is an eye that sees and an ear that hears. And that will keep us from doing the proper thing. And that will keep us away from doing the wrong thing. We can actually insert that within our system, within our doing. So, I once again, before I share with you a little story this evening, I want to once again point out our dinner in Mirza Hashem is on the 19th of November. Please call our office, get an invitation, go online. It's ncfje.org, ncfje.org. You can join us and make reservations for yourself and for your family. We will be talking about this over the next, taking this half hour for the next 3 weeks. We'll be here again with you to spend and talk a little bit about dinner. To the yeshivas, first of all, to the yeshiva of Sirei HaShluchim, of Shluchim around the world that are presently in Nappernack, New York. I hope and pray, first of all, that you're having great hatzlacha right now. but also that very, very soon you'll be able to go back to your home in Sfas as all the students who study in yeshiva. It's a great experience. I know for my own children who spent a year in Israel, or perhaps longer, it's a great, great experience. It's an experience that every young man and every young lady should have. If we can't live there always, at least have the experience of studying a year there, either in yeshiva or in seminary. Of course, sometimes the costs are prohibited and very, very difficult. Not every family can do it, but if it's possible, it's a great idea. I also then want to mention to you about the yeshiva that has been accused of being a cult, and it's a yeshiva being a cult leader. I want to say that there will be more information coming out in the next few days, maybe a month or so, that will be coming out from students that studied there, that will be giving testimony to exactly what took place, to exactly what happened. So the things right now, what they're saying is true or not true, all these things are going to come to light. And finally, I want to say again, perhaps if you want a little bit of inspiration, you want a little bit of uplifting, restoring a little bit of your hope, the book is called Whatever It Takes. And you don't have to go buy it necessarily. Find out somebody who has it, read their copy of the book. But I guarantee you it will lift up your spirits. And as I mentioned, I addressed in the book issues that are facing our Orthodox community. If it's issues of abuse, issues of family, issues of perhaps even things that in former families where sometimes there's outside influence are affecting within the families and destroying some of the families. Also, there's a little bit of entertainment within the book. Some of my dealings with politics and other people within the city. I'm sure it's going to be an enjoyable read for you. Again, you should be able to get it in your local bookstore. If not, again, you can call our office. Let me give out my telephone number for the office for those who are interested. Likewise, if you want to make a donation, if you want to help the yeshiva from Tzfas, which is presently in our camp, you can do so. The number is 718-735-0223. That's 718-735-0223. My dear friends, Motzei Shabbos is a very interesting evening. It's an evening that we, on one hand, take Shabbos. We're leaving Shabbos. On the other hand, we know that we have another 6 days to face, days of challenge and days of work that we have to do. As we know, the 6 days a week, as we read last week in the Parsha, the Rebbe gave to us like he created and he worked for those 6 days. Likewise, it's upon us and incumbent upon us to work. Even those, if we think that sometimes the other person, Segate Green, it goes easy. No, we all have effort and challenges that we have. We have to work hard. After all, man was created to work hard. Man was created to struggle on some level. Of course, we all want it to be easier. We pray for it to be easier, but we know that we work and then we reap the benefits. And likewise, and then look forward to next Shabbos. And it is interesting to note that sometimes we think to ourselves, but in the area of chinuch, in the area of business, those are challenges that others can meet or others perhaps do. Lamaisa, the interesting thing is, those of us who are involved in chinuch, and I've been involved in chinuch all my life, we know that today the challenges in chinuch are way greater. And I speak particularly to the parents. The challenge as a parent today is way greater than it was. I think back just at the way I dealt with the yeshivas when my children were in the system to the way my children are dealing with the yeshivas when their children are in the system. I think about the situations that what my children came home with versus to some of my grandchildren, some of the exposure that they came home. But again, the beauty is that if we study Torah properly, and if we give the right hashgacha to our children and to our students, they can be successful. This past Shabbos, I was up in Kingston, New York, at Chabad of Ulster County, and a group of Hasidim, known as a traveling Hasidim, came to spend Shabbos with the community. And one of the things we got talking in the afternoon, and a little bit of a kumsitz and a little shmooze, we were talking about some of the challenges that our children have today, and some of the challenges. But yeah, we also spoke about the resources today are so great. You can get books in every single language. There's no reason why we shouldn't study. And you can get every type of way. If you want a tape, a podcast, a video, there are so many different ways that we can study Torah, and we can get the information that we need and get to the people that we need to be able to help us in our struggles and in our challenges. So, my dear friends, on one hand, we know that the challenge may be greater, but on the other hand, the resources are greater as well. And if we tap into the resources, and if we use those resources that are around us, we will be successful in bringing up a generation that we will truly be proud of for the future. So once again, I urge you to study Torah yourself, to see to it that the members of your family study Torah, and they continue to carry on the torch to the next generation. Once again, the National Committee for the Furtherance of Jewish Education, it's an organization that basically is built around the education area, but there are so many different chasadim that we do. In fact, 6 years ago, my son, Rabbi Hecht, named after my father, started an organization. He took over the organization, or the project of the organization, called Toys for Hospitalized Children. And he was urged to start a branch of toys for children in hospitals in Israel, which he today calls Toys for Simcha. And they are presently working with 6 different hospitals in Israel. They've built children's rooms, day rooms for the children to play and to enjoy. Over the last 2 weeks, this organization has been successful in bringing toys and giving support to hundreds of families. You see, there is one way of fighting the war if you're on the front line. Another way when you're part of the army. But what about the families that were hit, the families that were destroyed? They need comfort. I'm not talking medically. Medically, of course, from Hatzalah to the hospitals, they're all doing a great job. But what about morally? They need a little bit of spirit. Their spirit's lifted up. And when members of our staff, when our volunteers come into the hospital room or to the family room where the people are staying, and able to give toys to the family and uplift them and show that we care, we love you, we're here to give you support, it goes a very far way. You'll be hearing more about this over the next 3 weeks. Please join us for the next 3 weeks, 10:30, Motzei Shabbos, right here on Talkline Communication. I want to take this opportunity of thanking Zev for able to allow me to have this time. And once again, our big dinner is in 4 weeks. Please try to join us and stay tuned. There's much good information. If you have a chance and you're out there on the street by the bookstore, the name of the book is Whatever It Takes. And I guarantee you a good read. If not, you can give me a call. Once again, if you want to support us, it's NCFJE, 824 Eastern Parkway, Brooklyn, New York, 11213, 735-0223. That's 718-735-0223. May you be blessed with and in every aspect, nachas and simchas and brachas, and may we hear good tidings from all over the world, particularly from Eretz Yisrael, Eretz HaKodesh. Now back to you, Zeb.
And thank you, Rabbi Shea, for the National Committee for the Furtherance of Jewish Education.